Good morning everyone. This is Kavya. In today's class, I'll explain you LED concept and then I will explain you another concept that is photovoltaic effect. So in LED, I will explain the symbol of LED, construction of LED, working of LED, and then I'll discuss with advantages and disadvantages and applications. So first, I will explain about LED, which is easy to understand. So you must have seen these LEDs in functions in decorating lights, in TV remotes, in display boards, in traffic controls, etc. Right? So this LED was discovered by Nick Holonyak in 1962. So it is a two-level semiconductor light source. First, if you observe the symbol of a LED, it is similar to the PN junction diode except for those two arrow marks, right? Those two arrow marks indicates the light emission. So here we are saying light emitting diode means release or discharge, or we can say emitting means vidudala or kanti ప్రసరింప చేయడము. So light emitting means a diode which emits the light. So it is the symbol of a LED symbol. It is anode, cathode, and those two arrow marks will indicate the light. If you observe the construction of an LED, it is having anode and cathode. So the longer one is anode and the shorter one is a cathode. And it also have a lead frames, semiconductor die, and reflective cavity, and wire band, and the upper side is having a epoxy lens or epoxy case. And this term epitaxy came from the Greek root word epi, means above, and taxis means in a ordered manner. So epitaxy refers to a deposition of an overlayer is in a registry with the substrate, and this overlayer is called as a epitaxial layer or epitaxy film. So it is the construction of a LED. Now we will see the working of an LED. So the LED is similar to the PN junction diode. So what happens in this LED is, so it allows the current in the forward bias. So what is a forward bias? I already said, right? So forward bias means whenever I connect the positive terminal of the battery to the p-type region and negative terminal of the battery to the n-type region, we can say it is in a forward bias. So in LED, the forward bias will take place. So and the important one is a recombination. So whenever it is in a forward bias, those, so we already know the majority charge carriers in p-type are holes and the majority charge carriers in n-type are electrons. So whenever it is in a forward bias, the electrons will combine with a hole, and at that time an energy will be released, and this energy is called as a photonic energy. I repeat again, whenever electrons combines with a hole, energy will be released, and this energy is known as a photonic energy, and electrons will dissipate this energy by emitting the photons. So that's why the light, this becomes the source of a light as it is emitted, thus becoming a light emitting diode. So whenever it is in a forward bias, the whole electron recombination takes place. At that time energy will be generated, and that energy is called as a photonic energy, and electrons will dissipate this energy by emitting the photons. So we should not use a silicon and germanium in this LED construction. Why? Because silicon and germanium will dissipate the energy in the form of a heat, not in the form of a photons. Whereas in some materials like gallium arsenide phosphorus, gallium phosphorus, and gallium nitride, such kind of material will emit the dissipation of energy by emitting the photons. That's we will get the light. So these are some materials we are using in the construction of an LED. So here it is the function as I said now. So we already know that the invisible light range is in between 100 terahertz to 400 terahertz, and visible light range is 400 terahertz to 750 terahertz. So Different colors are available in LEDs by using the different materials at different bias voltages, and some of the materials and colors and biasing voltages are given below. First one is GaN, which is a gallium nitride, which is in blue color, and the biasing voltage is 5 volts. And next one is gallium indium nitride, which is in a white color. Biasing voltage is 4.1 volts. And next one is gallium phosphide, which is in green color, and the biasing voltage is 3.5 volts. And the next one is gallium arsenide phosphide. Next one is also gallium arsenide phosphide, which produces red and orange colors, but the biasing voltage is different. For red color, it is 1.8 volts, and for orange, it is a 2 volts. And last one is aluminum indium gallium phosphide, which produces yellow color, and its biasing voltage is 2.2 volts. At some particular voltage like 25 degrees, a typical output high efficiency red LED has some parameters. Now we will see that parameters. The power dissipation must be it should be in between 100 millivolts to 120 millivolts, and the average forward current it should be in between the 20 to 50 milliamperes, and the peak forward current is of 60 milliamperes, and the operating temperature is in between minus 55 degrees centigrade to plus 100 degrees centigrade, and the luminous efficiency is of in between the range 150 to 650 lumens per watt, and the input power requirement is 1 to 150 milliwatts. And these LEDs have some advantages. Those are very low voltage and current are required to drive this LED, right? And the next one is total power output will be less than the 150 millivolts, and the response time is very less. It is only about 10 nanoseconds, and these LEDs are small in size, and hence we can say these are the lightweighted, and these are having a rugged construction. Rugged means like a hard construction, and hence can withstand shock and vibration. And these are having a lifespan of more than 20 years. So these are the advantages of LED. Now we will see the disadvantages. So whenever the voltage or current increases slightly, those LEDs will be damaged. And this temperature depends on the radiant output power and the wavelength. Now we will see the applications. As I said in starting of this class, these LEDs are used in motor vehicles, bicycle lights, traffic light indicators, signals, signs and signals in data displaying boards, in medical applications, and in some toys, and in light bulbs, and in remote controls. So these are the various applications of a LED. So the basic concept of an LED is, I'll tell you again. So it produces current in the forward biased condition. So I mean it works on the principal forward bias condition and recombination. So whenever it is in a forward bias, the whole electron pair will be generated. So at that time some energy will be released. That energy is called as a photonic energy, and this photonic energy is dissipated in the form of a emitting of photons. So whereas in silicon and germanium, it will be happen through heat, but whereas in some materials like gallium arsenide phosphorus, it should be like a by discharging should be like a emitting photons. So because of this reason, the light is emitting. Hence, we are calling it as a light emitting diode. Now I will explain you photovoltaic effect. This photovoltaic effect was discovered in 1839 by French physicist Alexander Edmond Becquerel. While experimenting with metal electrodes and electrolyte, he discovered that conductance increases with illumination. So, photovoltaic effect is happened because of the photovoltaic cells. Photovoltaic cells are the cells which converts the light energy into a electrical energy. Opposite to that LED. What I said in LED, it converts the electrical energy into a light energy in LEDs, right? But in photovoltaic effect, it converts the light energy. Photo means light. It converts the light energy into electrical energy, and this phenomenon is known as a photovoltaic effect. In easy way to understand, I will explain you about solar panels. So solar panels are also worked on the principle of a photovoltaic effect. So if you observe here we are having a solar panels. Now I will explain you how photovoltaic effect takes place in these solar panels. So uh, here we are having a solar panel, right? So the it is having a layers, p-type layer and n-type layer and a depletion region. The layer which is exposing to the sun should be very thick, sorry, very thin uh, in in size, like where it should be very thin. I repeat again, the layer which is exposing to the sun should be very thin, and the layer which is at the back side of the sun, which is not exposing to the sun, should be thick in size. And in between the thick layer and thin layer we are having a depletion region. And we already know that the majority charge carriers in p-type are holes, and the minority charge carriers in the uh, and the majority charge carriers in the n-type are electrons, right? And p-type semiconductors, p-type semiconductors will be formed by adding the trivalent impurities, right? They are like arsenic and phosphide. And n-type materials should be formed by adding a pentavalent impurities like gallium, indium and boron. So here in the p-type majority are holes, in n-type majority are electron, and in between that depletion region there will be less charge, means it contains the neutral atoms, right? Whenever the light falls on that depletion region from the sun, the neutral atom will break down into holes and electrons. And depletion region will also consist of some electric field. Because of that electric field, electrons are moved towards the n-type region and holes are moved towards the p-type region, and their accumulation of electrons will be formed at n-type and accumulation of holes will be formed at the p-type. So because of this these more charge carriers, potential difference at the both the sides, a voltage will be generated. So whenever we place a light there, it will glow. So it is the concept of a solar cells where we are using this photovoltaic effect. I repeat again, it is having this solar cell has having a three layers. So it is a n-type layer, p-type layer, and in between the depletion region, the layer which is exposing to the sun is it should be a thin, and the layer which is at the backside it should be a very thick. So whenever the light falls on the depletion region does not contain any charge, or we can say it contains a very less charge. So the depletion region will consisting of a neutral atoms. Whenever the light falling on it, the neutral atom will be break down into holes and electrons, and depletion region will have some electric field. So because of that electric field, electrons will be moved towards the n-type region and holes will be moved to the p-type region. So because of this, more charge carriers at the and at both ends, a potential difference will be generated, and if we place a light over there, it will glow. So it is a simple concept of a photovoltaic effect in solar panels. And one more thing is, the charge carriers electrons will not move freely in this solar cell. Why? Because it is not a conductor, it is a semiconductor. So we already know semiconductor means which partially allows the current. Conductors means there in that material electrons will be moved freely. So because of this region, we are placing like that metal fingers, like a construct in that construction. Because of that construction, electrons will be moved towards that metal fingers in the solar cell. So it is the simple phenomenon. So it is the mathematical representation of a expression of a photovoltaic potential, and photovoltaic EMF is of the order of 0.5 volts to for silicon and zero point 0.1 volts for germanium cells. And the applications of photovoltaic effects are, we can use it in solar batteries and for the detection of a very low levels of radiation. So this is about the today's class about photovoltaic effect and LED. So that's it for today's class. Thank you.